I love making films. Now, from when I was very little, I used to always take my dad's camera around, filming whatever I could, and just making movies. It's something that I still love today, and something that I'd kind of like to do for a living. But it's not always easy. Sometimes you have these periods when you're just lacking creativity, and you need something to get you motivated again, a spark, just to sort of get the creative juices flowing again. And that can be done in all sorts of ways, whether it's taking your mind off things through doing sport, or through reading books, or through going to the theatre, and perhaps most obvious of all, watching films. So that's what I'm going to be looking at today, the top 5 films that keep me inspired. So in no particular order, let's get started with number 1, A Hard Day's Night. Now, it may not be a masterpiece in terms of its direction, but the reason I love A Hard Day's Night so much is because it reminded me something about film. Film should be fun, whether it's when you're making it or what comes across on screen. Now, that's not to say that I don't like the odd gritty film. I mean, Dunkirk and The Dark Knight aren't the most uplifting films, but I still love the two films to bits. But seeing the Beatles just larking about, messing around without a care in the world, just reminded me of what film is all about. I always come back to this film whenever I'm feeling low, or if ever I just need reminding of why film is so special. Now, I mean, the reason I make films, and I've said this before, it is primarily for people's enjoyment. If I was ever to make, a big film and I had the choice of genre almost, I guess I would immediately jump for just a feel-good film, and that's certainly what A Hard Day's Night is. And I guess that's just one of the reasons why I love it so much, and why it always makes me want to get creative. And also, of course, it's got the Beatles in it. Number 2, Baby Driver. Kind of cliche, I suppose, for a young filmmaker to have an Edgar Wright film on one of these lists, but I don't think it'd be the one you're expecting. Now, a lot of people will probably go for Shaun of the Dead, an absolute gem of a film, don't get me wrong, and also, one that I should have got to way earlier than I actually did. But Baby Driver just struck a different chord with me, and from the moment I first saw it, I absolutely loved it. Not only does it have a great cast, great storyline, absolutely stunning set pieces, but the thing that really stuck out for me in this film was the way it was edited. Now, the central character of Baby Driver is Baby. He is a getaway driver who listens to music in his ears, through his iPod or whatever, in order to help him improve his concentration. And as a result of this, we get this fantastic blend of music and editing that just works perfectly. The combination of music tracks and the way it was edited is just flawless. The music choices themselves are excellent. They really provoke an emotional response, whether that's through the way they just blend seamlessly with the action pieces, or from their just stark contrast to what we're seeing on screen. It just works so well. I mean, this film, it just taught me the importance of editing and how it can really make a film. And editing, it's often something that we forget about. If it's done really well, it can usually be overlooked. However, in this case, thankfully, the editing sort of takes centre stage and we can really appreciate it in this movie. It's not just the shots that matter, it's often the way it's cut together that can help make the finished product what it is. So if I ever need reminding of that, this is always the film I turn to. Number 3, Les Mis. If there's one thing that this movie taught me, it's that films can be huge. Like, really big. Now, I'm not usually a musical fan, although I can certainly appreciate them when I see them, particularly on film. I mean, there's been some of the best moments in film that have come out of the musical genre. West Side Story's iconic opening, or more recent films like La La Land, and one that almost made my list, The Greatest Showman. And something that's always apparent with these, or at least all the ones I've seen, is scale. Les Mis is an epic. It's massive, not only in terms of its setting, but in terms of its cast, in terms of the sets, the locations, the musical numbers. It's almost overwhelming, but I love it. The scale of it just really helps to create an atmosphere that you can really immerse yourself in. Every frame of this film provokes an emotional response. Les Mis is a visceral, gritty, harsh experience, probably as far from A Hard Day's Night as you can get, But for me, it succeeds in everything it sets out to do. The film is a special one to me, not just because of personal reasons like being involved in the stage show, or more recently, getting to go on the actual film sets where the movie was shot, but it just shows me the extent to which film can go. The way it can just transport you through its gigantic scale. Watching this film is like staring up at a skyscraper. Film is massive, and it's something to aspire towards. Number 4, Withnail and I. In complete contrast to the scale of Les Mis, an epic tale spanning over 17 odd years, Withnail and I is a small, low-budget indie film about 2 out-of-work actors who go on holiday to the English countryside by mistake. It's packed with these hilarious one-liners that are just so quotable.
We want the finest wines available to humanity. We want them here, and we want them now.
And stunning performances from its 2 leads, Paul McGann and Richard E. Grant. But the reason I found myself turning to this film so much is because it reminds me of the complete flip side to a film like Les Mis. Film doesn't have to have a huge budget and giant sets to be good. As long as you've got a good story to tell and a crew that are passionate enough, you're pretty much set. It's just kind of inspiring to see how this little small indie movie has become this cult British film, again with some of the funniest moments we've seen in movies. So if I ever need reminding of that, Withnail and I is the one to watch. And number 5, the Harry Potter films. Okay, so I'm technically cheating here, but I really just couldn't pick one. These films are just incredibly special to me. I mean, I was kind of late to the party with the books. The first one I read was The Half-Blood Prince, so the films were largely my main exposure to the wizarding world. A bit like I feel now watching Les Mis, as a kid I don't think I could have been anything short of just awe-inspired by the sheer scale of the world that's presented to us, the sheer magic of it all. But not just that, the Potter movies were probably the first films that I actually watched the behind the scenes for on the DVDs. Before that I had no real idea that this sort of stuff was made by people and that you could actually do it for a living. So seeing all the people behind the scenes creating these movies that just mean so much to so many people, it blew my tiny little mind. Years and years later I went to the Harry Potter studio tours in London to see it all firsthand, and what an experience. The amount of effort, care and attention to detail in these films is just, it's nothing short of incredible. And I think it's largely thanks to these films and the behind the scenes and going on the set tours that sort of set me on the path to wanting to make and create my own films. So yeah, an incredible film series and one that will never fail to inspire me. And there we have it, the films that inspire me the most. Not necessarily my favourite films, but certainly the ones that I can watch and then sit back with this huge appreciation for film and what it can do. Sure, you know, some of them might be a bit mainstream, there's not really anything niche in there, but if that's what does it for me, it's what does it for me. Thanks for watching this. It's sort of a bit different for me, I've not really done any video like this before, sort of semi-scripted. Yeah, let me know if you enjoyed it in the comments below, and I'll try and think of some others that are similar, leave suggestions, and of course, leave your lists of films that inspire you, because I'd genuinely be interested to see what everyone else thinks and what everyone else likes to watch. Yes, thank you very much for watching, listening and hearing about my favourite films, and I'll see you again soon for more videos. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Right. Now time to put all these back in alphabetical order.